What is up? We are talking touchdowns here at runpuresports.com. I'm your host, Spread Astaire, joined today, as always, by Tyler Hicks and the man, the myth, the legend, Titletown. Title, you were just telling me how well your core did. How was your weekend doing daily fantasy in the National Football League?
Yeah, it was a profitable week again. Tournaments went well. The past 3 weeks, they went well. The first, I think, 4 weeks, they dudded. That's just how the tournament streets go. Didn't get to the first, though. Didn't get to second. So that's where the major prize money's at. So tournaments well. Cash games profited as well. The last 2 weeks did not go so well in that street. So it's nice to bounce back there. Profitable Sunday. Can't complain. Packers lost, but that's all right. I'll always cheer for the money over the Packers. So excited to talk about this week eight slate that we just had.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell Title not the full-on gambler like us, because I'm like, what do you mean? The Packers covered. Great performance. Tyler, what were your takeaways from yesterday's game?
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the three guys on the screen right now, Title's team lost, my team lost, but Spread, our team didn't get shut out like yours did. We at least got some points on the board. I mean, that Raiders team, it's looking bad. I mean, I thought maybe they were going to be able to get it back together, but man, it was bad. Speaking of Title's core, I wrote that to some nice DFS money, so I'll take that.
There you go.
On to tonight, we could talk about these games. Maybe we'll hit the showdown tonight, and then we'll get into NBA later on tonight too.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive how I managed to use Title's core and still not cash, because I dudded on every other pick there. But these things happen when you're playing DFS, and of course, grateful for the information that you guys provide on the DFS side at Run Pure Sports. But let's dive right into yesterday. We started bright and early, 6:30 a.m. for me, and my crazy self was up watching the Jacksonville Jaguars lose. Man, these Jaguars, I wanted them to be good. I wanted Trevor to be good. What a disappointment as they fall 21-17. They're 2-6. They have 6 losses that have been by 7 points or less. So models are going to like the Jaguars. I kind of like the Jaguars, but Russ finally got it done. What do you think, Title? Are Hackett and Russ going to turn things around? Is this going to be the team that we expected in the preseason, or was that just a bad win against a bad team?
Well, yeah, I didn't watch a second of the game. 6:30 a.m.'s early, Halloween the night before. I just didn't watch a second, so I can't talk about this game too much. Do I think Russ and them are going to turn around? No, but I didn't watch any of that game. I mean, they beat the Jags by 4, so I'll let you two. I mean, I assume maybe Tyler watch it, you watch it, Spread. So I'll let you two talk about the game.
What did you see, Tyler?
I think Spread's the only guy with eyes on this game, because I was still sleeping at that point. So, but I mean, judging by what I've seen from the box score and the highlights, it's almost like Denver had that first half. They were looking like a terrible team, and then second half rolled around, and they remembered that a lot of their front staff and the upper guys in this organization said, you lose this game, we're trading most of these guys away, we're blowing it up. It's almost like they flicked the panic switch in the second half and got the job done. They managed to get the ball in Judy's hands a lot more. I've seen that, which is good. You got to get that guy the ball, even at a rushing touchdown. So getting him the ball is big. They even hit KJ Hamler on a big play, but just like Title said, I don't think his team's turning anything around.
Yeah, so basically Russ was missing a lot of throws as usual in the first half, but he dropped some dimes reminiscent of his time in Seattle in the second half, and that was the difference in this game. Tyler, I don't want to get down on Trevor too much, because you know how high we are on this Denver defense. So the fact that he wasn't able to move the ball against them, I don't think is necessarily the end of the world, but it's just another and a consistent string of poor performances with the game on the line where he could get things done, and it's simply not happening. And it's not like, of course, there's always going to be drop passes, but he's missing a lot of throws too. So kind of disappointed. We were so excited for Doug Peterson on this team. The team started 2-1. They've now lost 5 in a row. So tough times in Jacksonville. Hey, the only good thing they got going for them is they play the Raiders next, right? So, hey, New Orleans Saints were able to turn it around hosting the Raiders. We'll see how Jacksonville does there. But let's move on to a game that you guys probably watched. Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals could not get things done against the Minnesota Vikings. Tyler, I told you I love that one. It felt like everyone in the world was on Arizona plus 3.5. The Vikings covered. You can argue that they didn't deserve the cover, but the result was there. Justin Jefferson did all right at the price tag. didn't get you where you needed to be. But overall, the Vikings moved to 6-1. We talked about the Packers not looking good. They got full control of that NFC North now. Takeaways from the Cardinals and the Vikings. Start with you, Title.
Yeah, it was a good football game to watch. There's points scored DFS-wise. I, again, stacked Kyler Murray on FanDuel and DraftKings, actually. I stacked him on both. He got the job done. Thankfully, D-Hop had a good game. Rondale Moore, Ertz. As far as the Viking side, yeah, I like the Jefferson Thielen. I like the passing game more. It was Dalvin that got there on the ground. Kirk runs one in. Madison gets there. So that was a little tilting. But, man, I mean, NFC North, there's the Bears, stink. The Packers, got to say stink, I guess. And we got the Lions who, I mean, stink. And the Vikings are just running away with it, 6-1. We talked about it last week. I mean, I'm not sold that this team's going to win a couple playoff games, but they'll probably have home field. They keep getting the job done. It was a good win against the Cardinals. Cardinals, it's the Cardinals, though. Kyler's not winning anything anytime soon. I'm not bumping the Vikings. I'm not downgrading the Vikings. They got to win. That I think they should have. They got the job done. I don't really know what else to say. Nothing surprised me or stood out in this one too much.
Yeah, hey, a lot of people were on the Cardinals. I was kind of contrarian there. It's weird being contrarian and taking the favorite. But that was the spot that I was in, Tyler. When we did the model, that was the biggest edge that we showed was the Vikings. Came out pretty close, right? We had the Vikings by 6. They win by what, 8? What did you take away from that game?
Yeah, I mean, as watching that game spread, I honestly think Arizona should have won that game. But you have
isn't that every single game there though for the Vikings? I mean, I hear this every week.
Yeah, the Vikings, they try and blow games and they find themselves in spots where the other team just doesn't want to win. Like Arizona, honestly, I said it before the season, he should have been the first coach fired, but they had to get the guy to Carolina first. Kingsbury should be gone. The dude stinks. You couldn't win with Mahomes in college. You're not going to win with Kyler in the NFL. So I'm not going to put as much on Kyler. I know he's a short quarterback, probably won't work out as much in the NFL, but I feel like a better offensive-minded coach can get him into spots where maybe if he was in more of like a rollout offense to where he's doing his play actions and rolling out away from the line, he could see more down the field, hit these guys in the open spaces, and he can also use his legs too. So I think they need to fire Kingsbury, make some changes up there, and I think Kyler could put it together as the offense. I think coaching's the big thing here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that you're alone in calling.
And as for the Vikings, hypothetically, they stumble through the playoffs like a puppy with big paws and can't run, and they play the Bills. What are we lining that game at? 7.5.
Well, they're on the NFC side, so
that's Super Bowl, and I don't.
That's what I said. Super Bowl. They play each other in the Super Bowl.
That'd be the biggest. Yeah. I would probably say it's a little lower.
You got to remember, though, if that actually happened, the Vikings would have 3 quality wins. It would still be hot.
I would have a house on the Buffalo Bills in that matchup.
Well, I mean, you're going to have to go through an alternate universe to find that because as cool as it was to watch them win yesterday.
That's the ultimate gambling opportunity spread is Kirk Cousins on the main stage, all eyes on him. He's going to collapse, and the other team's just going to coast to a win.
I mean, I mean, he's not getting there. As weak as the NFC is, right? It's not that weak. So, hey, let's give them their props, though, and I'll continue to bet on them in the regular season, especially at home, especially in that time slot.
Before you go to the next game, though,
yeah,
you're saying it's not that weak that they can't make it, but if the standings were to go as they are right now, San Fran and Philly have to play each other first. So Minnesota just coasts down the other side of the bracket.
Yeah, but wouldn't the winner just crush?
They might, but what if they get into a slugfest and those two teams come out of that just injured? Like, you know what I mean? Like both teams are beat up. They come into the next week. They're just still riddled with injuries and they just sneak through.
I mean,
it could happen. I'm just saying. I don't think they have a chance, but it could happen.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. It could happen, but these are really crazy scenarios you're coming up with, Tyler.
No, but just look at the NFC.
Super Bowl.
It's Philly. San Fran.
Yes.
Are you putting Dallas up there? No. Who's next?
Dallas could beat Minnesota.
Could they? I mean, they could, but do you trust their coach in big games?
He's made it to a Super Bowl before. I think he won it.
I mean, no, that was with Aaron Rodgers at his peak. I'm pretty sure all three of us could have.
You got Michael Parsons at your peak right now.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just don't see it. I think the Vikings right now, if you had to rank them, third best team in the NFC. have this like weird path to
So
sneak
you have
into
the
Super Bowl.
Vikings. So when we're doing power rankings tomorrow night, you're going to tell me to put the Vikings ahead of the Cowboys.
Yes.
Wow. What do you think of that take, Title? Tyler's coming hot today.
I mean, I like Dallas. I think they're the better squad.
Yeah, I think so.
But
too.
it also
Look at that
concerns me
defense.
when
I think it's very close.
They still keep calling Zeke like team goes with Zeke, running back. That stuff still is like, wow, how can you be that dumb? But
Because you're like 87 years old, Title. Do you think I'm still going to be doing a talking touchdown show at 87? No, I'm be senile. Sipping coffee. You should be making decisions at that age. Like, come on. And don't even get me started on politics.
And that if they matched up, that would one team's imposing their will while the other one's just got to take it. Like either Dallas's pass rush is getting to Kirk and just making his life a living hell, or he's getting 3 to 4 seconds, and Justin Jefferson's running past Diggs for 80-yard gains every time.
Yeah, I mean, that's not the wildest idea that the Vikings could beat the Cowboys, especially at home. But I just can't see them going through that gauntlet. But hey, Tyler, we're going to clip this if you're right, and you can get the victory lap of all victory laps if you pull that one off. But, enough about the Vikings and their Super Bowl chances. Let's talk about two teams that I also don't believe have Super Bowl chances, and that's the Carolina Panthers and the Atlanta Falcons. Boy, tough day to be a kicker in Carolina. I think that's the guy's name, Eddie Pinheiro. He misses the extra point. Then he misses the pretty easy field goal in overtime. Atlanta gets a win. They're 4-4. Does that make them first place in the NFC South? Wow.
Yep.
They got offensive-minded quarterback coach that doesn't trust his quarterback. They run the ball on almost every single play. Drake London and Kyle Pitts' best balls are just out to pasture. I mean, you might as well be Drake London best ball for Halloween tonight, because I'll tell you what, that's scaring me. I drafted him, and he's been doing absolutely terrible. What were your takeaway from the Falcons and the Panthers, Title?
Yeah, coming out with the hot take in this one. Neither of these teams are Super Bowl contenders. I agree with you, Fred.
I'm really going out on a limb today.
Yeah, I agree with that statement. I mean, the Panthers are cheeks. PJ Walker gets the job done, though. Foreman, crazy in DFS. DJ Moore gets there late in DFS. There were a lot of points scored in this game. So, yeah, if you stacked it up, very low ownership, got it done. Pitts was the only Falcon, if you rolled that got there, I guess, 5 for 80 with the touchdown. London's been so disappointing, though. I mean, Pitts has been awful for his ADP.
It's not like he's dropping passes. I mean, they don't even drop back to pass.
It's so tilting. Exactly. I mean, I could not imagine being those two, London and Pitts, and having to deal with that every game. But, yeah, I mean, the kicking situation was the big thing. I mean, man, that kicker, I fell for him a little bit. Thankfully, it's not a team that had, like, playoff aspirations and stuff, and he's going to go back in that locker room and get crucified. But, yeah, I mean, that's a tough scene for him. They should have won that football game.
I mean, they're still football players. They want to win regardless of the aspirations. That had to be a tough scene. And I don't know. He hasn't got cut yet, but I won't be surprised if he's not with the team next week, just to make a statement. Tyler, I know we like to rag on these teams. Do we have anything positive to say about the Atlanta Falcons getting that win?
I mean, not really, but if you think this team, like, I don't know exactly how their schedules play out the rest of the year. Tampa lost Shaq Barrett on Thursday night, so as bad as we thought they were, they just lost their best pass rusher, which means they're going to be even worse. They're still favored to win this division at minus 135.
Who, Tampa?
You could come in on Atlanta at plus 250, but if this Saints team's going to put it together now, 4-1 looks like pretty nice and tasty. One game back of those two teams, they could easily jump ahead of them and take this division. I would to be honest, I'd probably bet Atlanta and New Orleans and just fade Tampa Bay.
All right. You want to fade Tampa Bay, and you're not the only one. Let's talk about those Cowboys, Tyler, who are 6-2. Not too far behind Minnesota, and they came with a 49-29 win over the Chicago Bears. Justin Fields on the perfect lineup put out by Helmet Creator. If you're in Run Pure Discord, he puts out what the perfect lineup will be every week. And Tyler, I mean, when we're doing the show on Friday, how much should we expect Justin Fields to be the guy that you needed in order to get you to the top? We'll start with you, though, Title. What did you think of the performance from a daily fantasy perspective, right? Justin Fields is coming along here. And then, of course, the Cowboys putting up 49 points, looking absolutely dominating again. Micah Parsons, barring injury, will probably be defensive player in the year. What were your thoughts on that one?
Cowboys jumped out early, so I didn't. That was a game that I didn't have on as much as the others. Pollard got there; he was mega chalk in DFS with the Zeke news. Right, I played him in every lineup. Thought it was good chalk. CeeDee Lamb got there. As far as the field situation, yeah, I mean, throws for a $151, drops back 23 times, and he's on the perfect lineup. Like less than 1% owned he probably was. No one got there. It just shows how crazy DFS can be. I mean, what takeaways of this game? The Cowboys are a solid football team. The Bears are not a very good football team.
Right? You didn't need to tune into the show to learn that, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they won at home. They jumped out early. They did what they had to do. I mean, I don't see how you change it. These teams are what we thought they were, is how I saw this one.
Tyler, you didn't sound like you were too impressed with the Dallas Cowboys beating one of the worst teams in the NFL. Tell us why.
I mean, it's the Chicago Bears. I wouldn't say I wasn't impressed. They did beat up on them. It was more the Vikings matchup. I wasn't as fond of them in spread. But as for this game, I mean, should have been 42-29. Just nobody knows how to touch Michael Parsons while he's laying on the ground with the ball. So the dude gets up and runs away for a defensive touchdown, which helped me out. But they should have been 42-29. Should have been a little closer game. I really don't think Chicago should have scored that many points. But when you have a running quarterback and you're sending those blitzes at him, the holes are going to open up for him to run away, and he did a few times. So, just like Title said, these teams are what we thought they were. Chicago's bottom 5. Dallas is somewhere near the top. Just all depends on where you want to plug them in at.
I mean, Fields is an elite athlete. I mean, if they actually put a team around him, you're going to hate to hear
Which
this.
surprises me because he didn't really use his legs at Ohio State.
Well, he didn't need to. He actually had time and receivers that were open. Who?
Kyler's an elite. He's an elite athlete.
To a certain extent, but I mean, he doesn't have an NFL body. I mean, Fields has an NFL body.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're just talking athletes. I mean, one got drafted in 2 sports at the highest
in the first
level.
round, yeah.
And, I mean,
yeah. Okay, I'll give you that, but I mean, it's just I don't expect him to make it through the full season. But boy, Tyler, what's going to happen to you hating Ohio State quarterbacks if Fields ends up being the best guy in that draft class? I mean, Trevor's letting us down. Who knows when Trey Lance is going to hit the field? Mac Jones, we'll talk about him in a little bit.
We ain't even got to worry about the other guy. That other guy stinks.
Who?
Mr. Sees Ghost, Zach Wilson. The dude can't even throw a ball out of bounds. He's trying to throw balls away, and he's throwing picks.
Oh, yeah. That was pretty good because I was on the Patriots there. But
I've never seen a quarterback try and throw a ball out of bounds and try and, like, flick it out of bounds like a little touch pass. Like, just whip that thing to the sideline.
Give a souvenir to one of the fans there. That's what I'd be doing.
That's it. He's just kind of dropping it right on the out of bounds line. He's like, maybe it won't go out of bounds. And of course it didn't, and the other team catches it.
Hey, Tyler, let's give our guy JJ credit. He was the first one to say, like, how are you drafting Taysom Hill at number 2 overall? Because he said he really didn't see too much difference between Wilson and Hill. And so far, he's turned out to
I think Hill might be a better passer than him at this point.
Oh, well, let's not get too far. But yeah.
I mean, look at the plays Zach Wilson makes. Like, Taysom Hill might be better than him.
Well, it's tough to find some plays that he's made. I understand your point, though. Let's talk about my favorite team, the Raiders. What's there to talk about? This team sucks.
Okay. Go ahead.
Here's my question for you, right? Because we can all say they suck, and people didn't tune on the show to say they suck. Let's say you're Mark Davis. Might have made a mistake here, but continuity matters. Does McDaniels make it through the season? I mean, for overall, for the strength of the franchise, do you think that they should move on at the end of the year, or do you give him another year, even though this has been an absolute disaster? What do you think, Title?
Go ahead.
Well, my question is, why did they get rid of what was the interim coach last year? Rich
Bisaccia. He's your special teams coordinator. Why do you think your kickoffs have been so good, Title? And your
Amari Rodgers is still sitting back there, and I don't remember the last time that they've.
Well, I don't think that's the coach's fault that he can't just catch a ball. I mean,
all I know is he's not making a big implant on the special teams for the Packers.
Maybe that's why they got rid of him.
Yeah, but my question, like, why did you guys get rid of him? You're talking about continuity, you're talking about chemistry. I mean, he had no chance to keep that job. It looked like he did everything he had to last year. Gets in the playoffs, gives the Bengals a very competitive game. Who's a play away from the Super? And now you guys want to fire McDaniels? You guys get Devontae. Like, I was so high.
Do you think I should? I go back and forth because it's like you got to give the guy a chance, but he didn't do good in Denver. hasn't done very good this year. I mean, what do you think we should do? If you were advising Mark Davis calls you up, he says, title. Should I fire this guy at the end of the year? What would you tell him?
You definitely don't fire him now. You definitely let him play the whole year out, and you hope to see improvement, strides of improvement, the chemistry, the football team you put out there every day, defense. I think you just have to see strides, and then every single game he's getting graded. They have to do something. They have to show something. Players have to say something that makes it. And if it just you guys are going the right direction, looks positive, sure, you can maybe then bring him back. If it's going like this all year, there's no chance he can come back next year. I mean, this is one of the most disappointing football teams in the NFL this year. The Buccaneers, Packers, Raiders, like those are the three that stand out right away. I mean, this team, I thought, had Super Bowl aspirations, and I was as wrong as anyone could be. I mean, this team is cheeks.
Tyler, if this continues, do you think he should get rid of him?
Yeah, I believe so, but I think it should be after the season, just like Title said. Like, let him see if he can fix a little bit of things. Because I mean, look at what the team dealt with. Look at what the team dealt with last year. All that surrounded the team between every saga that happened last year. Now you want to fire a coach mid-season? Like, just let these.
I don't want to fire mid-season. I'm just talking about at the end of the year if you bring him back off this performance.
Yeah, I say fire him at the end of the season under one condition: that you find somebody that is actually like has the reputation in the NFL already that you can drop him in as a head coach. You know what I mean? Don't go taking a swing on some college guy thinking maybe he's it. When McDaniels is bad, but at least he might be able to put it together. He knows how to run an NFL offense. You want to bring in a guy like Kingsbury? Just would not be a good idea, I think. So I'd make sure you have your guy out there before you fire him.
Talk to me about the Saints, Tyler.
I mean, they're the Saints. They're going to get some guys back healthy. Camaro finally found the end zone, so he's looking better. If they're going to score like that, though, spread just like we talked about in that last Atlanta-Carolina breakdown, plus 400 to win that division, they could easily string together some wins and come back and win it. So that's something I want to keep an eye on.
I mean, there's
That'd
tons
be my
of talent on
favorite
that roster.
bet in the NFC South.
Yeah, the Saints. I
like
so
them
too.
more
Once
than
they get
Atlanta as
healthy,
well,
they're going to
too.
be.
I definitely like
Atlanta's going to drop.
Atlanta's
games
afraid to throw the ball. Yeah,
they're not
afraid to throw the
winning.
ball. You can't. What do they think this is? 1968? Like, come on. Like,
yeah, I definitely don't like
OJ
Atlanta.
Simpson back there. Like,
in all reality, too, if DJ Moore doesn't rip his helmet off, Carolina's in the first in this division right now. So it's all it took was that.
Make some extra points. So even with that, I mean, you got to make that.
Well, I mean, when your receiver rips his helmet off and he gets, I think, multiple penalties in that one call, and he turns
make it a 48
yard or
whatever it is,
48-yard extra point. It's like you just can't do that.
Yeah, for sure.
all right.
It didn't matter for my DFS. I got overtime. I had DJ Moore, so that was looking good.
Oh, you love that last play that we put it on a rope.
Oh, yeah.
All right. What about the Miami Dolphins? I know that our guy Travis Van Gogh loves Mike McDaniel. He's able to get it done. They improved to 5-3. The Lions have fallen to 1-6. I know we all love Dan Campbell, but at what point do we just say, hey, maybe this guy's not that good a coach, or is it the roster's that bad? What'd you take away from the Dolphins and the Lions?
I mean, Dan Campbell, they're always in close games, and the roster, they play up to the competition. I don't think you get rid of this guy. I mean, I think there's a lot of other worse coaches in the NFL, but I do agree. At the end of the day, you got to have a winning record at some point. Give him a couple of years. I'm still a Dan Campbell guy. I still think you keep him. As far as the Miami side, I mean, the Lions defense is just so bad. It's in a dome. Like, that's why I was all over Tua, Waddle, Tyreek. There's Mostert was there. You just love picking on Detroit. You love dome games. I mean, I like McDaniel as well, like Mangone. Just everything set up perfectly. Dolphins delivered. The stat gets there. The guys that you wanted to play got there. Tyreek and Waddle. Such a condensed target share. Great. As far as the Lions side, yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to say about the Lions side. I wanted a little more from Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jamal gets there. DeAndre Swift. That's the other thing, too. Like, when this team is fully healthy, when Swift is fully healthy, when Amon-Ra is fully healthy, when they have Chark, with Jamison Williams, who they drafted and stuff, like defense, there's still a lot of pieces that aren't there right now, aren't fully healthy right now, and they aren't putting out their best football. Like the roster for the Lions, I think, is decent. I think they're pretty well coached. They do fight, so I think this Lions team's fine. They're 1-6. I think they're better than the record. They have to get healthy. They're still a couple of years out, but you see what the Packers are doing in the division. The Bears are still the Bears. I mean, the Vikings obviously right now overachieving, but I think the Lions keep drafting well. They keep doing what they're doing. Staying healthy. I keep their core guys. I think they could win this division in a couple of years, to be honest. So,
Tyler, when we do power rankings tomorrow, we're going to upgrade Miami.
Maybe a tad. I mean, their defense didn't look great. Detroit did put a ton of points on. They went up a quick 14-0 before Miami said, all right, it's our turn to score. So that wasn't a good sign, but then Miami just put it on them. Teams can't cover these receivers. They're just too fast. The thing that worries me, though, is Tua is really underthrowing a lot of these guys to where they have to come back and get it. They're almost jump catching a lot of these balls and just falling over. That works against a Detroit team that can't cover anything. Come playoff time, when you're playing one of these defenses that are pretty good and have decent secondaries, those balls are going to turn into interceptions, which is not going to help this team. And it's also probably going to cause him a playoff loss. So he's got to be getting that hit and start to hit those guys in stride, but I'm not sure he's got the arm strength to do it.
Oh, so you're worried about the accuracy of the most accurate quarterback in the NFL.
I'm not worried about the
more
accuracy.
accurate than Patrick Mahomes. I mean, come on, Tyreek.
I mean, the accuracy was never in question. It's the throw power. Can he get it 75 yards down the field?
That's on the injury,
seconds?
man. He threw dimes in Alabama.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you got Tyreek Hill running a 4-2 down the sideline, like if you can't get that ball down there as fast as Mahomes was getting it, so the dude doesn't have to slow down.
Hitting Henry Ruggs right in stride.
Oh, he was hitting Ruggs. He was hitting Devontae Smith, Judy. All those guys were getting hit in stride.
Yeah.
So it's like
So
that injured hip just did it to him.
Having a rough hair day for your host, but we're going to keep on going here.
Channeling your inner Holden.
Oh, man. Well, no, I don't look like an anime character.
You don't look like you stabbed the socket behind you?
Yeah, and I actually try to look good for the show, unlike him. He thinks he's still on radio. The New England Patriots are now 4-4, taking on the New York Jets. The New York Jets were 5-2, but they can never beat the Patriots. Belichick does it again. You already talked about it earlier, Tyler. Talk to us one more time about the idea of trying to build around Zach Wilson. I mean, it looks like it's going to be tough going for Robert Saleh because the rest of the team looking pretty good. The offensive line is playing better, and he's building himself quite the defense there. I just don't know if they have the right guy under center. What do you think? I
damn sure don't think they got the right guy under center. But as for this team as a whole for the rest of the season spread, I know we've said for the last few years running backs don't matter. I think Breece Hall mattered because
that's stupid. You know what? That's overrated. You know what? Back in the day,
I don't think it is.
And so, okay, like a guy like James Robinson, if he gets hurt, it doesn't matter, right? But these elite guys, they matter. They matter. The top four guys matter. McCaffrey matters. So I think that running backs don't matter is getting kind of overrated.
No, I agree. But yeah, him missing from this team is going to be big. They lost another offensive lineman before this game earlier in the week. So it's like when we first looked at this game spread, when we did the playbook, we wanted to jump right on the Jets. And then the more I looked into it, it was like, this is probably going to be the Jets having to throw the ball a lot more. Do we really think Zach Wilson's going to be able to throw against his defense? Probably not. Sided with the Patriots here. They went in, they got the job done. Zach Wilson threw 3 picks. A couple of those were just terrible. So I'd look to get a new quarterback in there. It's just a question of his team might be picking a little bit too high to get a very legit quarterback prospect. So what would be great is if Bryce Young fell away if he didn't get to Atlanta where I wanted his initial destination at. That wide receiver core in New York ain't too bad. So I'd love to see him up there.
Yeah, Elijah Morgan, absolutely no snaps. Tyler, do you think they move on from Wilson after this year?
Before he goes, did you see what Elijah Moore said in the press conference?
When they said, do you have any chemistry? And he said, I don't know. They asked him about the ball.
Yeah, they asked him about the chemistry. He's like, I don't know.
Yeah, he wants Flacco back bad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Tyler,
do I think Wilson's going to be the guy? I don't know. It's just each franchise and they just treat it differently. Like some guys are just going to hold on. I mean, draft Wilson high. He's the guy. Like give him a couple more years. He's still young, all that. And then some have a quicker hook. I think they should try and move on. Like this is a pretty good football team. The Breece Hall injury for sure. I 100% agree. That was the big thing I was going to say is he was just so explosive. Like you can throw it to him in the flat, make a guy miss, and he's there for 30 yards. They just don't really have that right now. I mean, Michael Carter, James Robinson, they're just not explosive like that. And then when they're not doing anything on the ground, then Wilson has to drop back 40 times, and he's going to make mistakes if he's dropping back 40 times. Defense, solid though. They got Garrett Wilson. Elijah Moore's not going to be there for too long, which is unfortunate, but they do have some weapons out there. But yeah, I think with Breece Hall and Zach Wilson still back there, I think they're going to give a lot of teams competitive games. I think the defense will keep them in games, but I do not think 5-3 right now. I think they'll have a losing record by the end of the year.
All right. Well, that's a hot take. He's saying a losing record by the end of the year. In that case, I think you would have to look at finding a new quarterback, even if it's a veteran, to give Wilson some competition. I don't think Flacco's that guy, right? But we'll see who's available in the market there, because I don't know. When you make a mistake on these quarterbacks, you can't just keep doubling down, And from what we've seen, I don't know if he's going to be the guy. So we will see there with the New York Jets. But obviously, a lot of concern after New York is their nemesis, the Patriots, get another win. Tyler, do we even want to talk about your team? Whoop-de-doo. The Steelers beat the Eagles. Anything to say there? I mean,
A.J. Brown's a stud, destroyed the defense. Your favorite coach stood there with his arms crossed the rest of the game and watched his rookie quarterback just stink it up. So
what should he have done?
I don't know. Go home.
Title, anything from this one? I mean, I don't even know why we're even bringing this one up.
Oh, I mean, Hurts. I got on DK. I run 3 teams. I did one stack that was this game. I got Hurts at 7%, AJ Brown at 6%, and Dallas Goedert at 3%. So DFS edge is still there.
Look at you. I'm loving that you had a great DFS.
Well, that lineup didn't even cash because I was like you with the other stuff, where the other pieces around were all snowflakes. But the thing to say is people overthink it is stuff way too much. I mean, you're getting Hurts, AJ Brown, and Goddard all in single digit. I mean,
and people were worried about the blowout, but they got there in the blowout. Like, I mean, sometimes the blowout's not bad. It's not. This isn't NBA.
Yeah, exactly. People, and that's the thing I love too. Like the double digit spreads. I don't need to run it back with anyone. If you want to and you like someone, sure. But if it's a blowout, that means they're putting up a lot of points. How are they putting up those points? I mean, sure. I mean,
and this defense ain't getting no better. I know Watt might be coming back in the next few weeks, but I don't think he's going to be 100% making a difference. They play the Saints this upcoming week. Kamara and Olave definitely look ahead spots for me in DFS. I'll say that.
Oh, really? You're going to fade my guy again, even if TJ's back
I'm
there?
I'm fading this defense for the rest
I
of the
can't wait to bet on the Steelers once TJ gets back in that lineup.
Good luck.
You guys are forgetting how good he is. He's
unless he's playing running back too.
I'm not forgetting. He's a stud.
He's a stud, but the rest of the pieces around him, he might be top 5.
He made the rest of the pieces look pretty good last year.
There was a lot of them guys are getting old too. Spread like Cam Hayward might have played his last good season last year.
Yeah, that's fair too. All right, well, we'll revisit this on Friday, but I think it could be Tyler spread first take. All right, Tennessee Titans 5-2 beat the Texans 5-1 now 17-10. This game really wasn't as close as the score. I had the Titans. I never really worried about not winning the bet. Derrick Henry did pretty well there, but we were expecting a smash spot for him. What did he end up with? Oh, never mind. That was a smash spot. 219 yards.
What are we doing?
That was
because I stopped paying attention to that game. I stopped watching at halftime, and my lineups were dead. So I
had to double check. I'm like, what? You wanted 350 yards on the ground and 8 touchdowns?
Is it just me, or was that the quietest 220 and 2 touchdowns I've ever seen?
I mean, every single bro, he was getting.
He was splitting carries with Hilliard too.
Title right at halftime. I went in. I was like, let me go check his stats. It said like $160 and a touchdown. I'm like, why is he not being shown on red zone for any of this?
Yeah, no.
It's like.
The game was just, I mean, when your quarterback drops back 10 times the game and it's a low, I mean, like you said, I mean, the Texans didn't even score to the last drive. Huge drive for me. I had a lot of Cooks and Pierce. So that last drive.
Tagging those two guys up and down the field.
It was, if that one drive didn't happen, it wouldn't have been the same week. So that was great. But like you said, Tennessee was in control the whole game.
And we've had a great time slandering quarterbacks today. What'd you think of Malik Willis?
The dude dropped back 10 times, 6 for 10, 55 yards and an interception, 5 for 12 on the ground. I mean, put me back there, and I'm hoping I have a stat line similar to that. That's not good.
So you don't think Malik Willis is the answer in Tennessee?
I mean, that has to be one of the worst stat lines I've ever seen. And they win the football game handily. Like, that's even the crazier part.
Yeah. Anything more on that one, Tyler?
No, I mean, Malik Willis stinks. Definitely not the guy in Tennessee. But in 2 to 3 years, if the dude gets his feet under him, can read a defense, maybe he could be that guy. He does have the arm strength and the footwork, so maybe in a few years, but he's definitely not it yet.
Okay, great. Let's talk about a game that I thought that was a lot of fun, even though it wasn't close. The Seahawks beat the Giants. And I had to switch because I'm picking winners, just off the top of my head. I said, I like the Giants. They're always winning close. But then you looked at that travel. That was a tough spot. They've been in London recently. Then they went from Jacksonville. Then they go all the way to Seattle. Tired team. They could not pull it out. Tyler, I know you were vindicated as well, right? Because you're calling this team the New York Shamrocks because you said you've never seen anything so lucky. What were your takeaways from MVP candidate Geno Smith, Coach of the Year candidate Pete Carroll, and your Seattle Seahawks?
I called it right down the middle spread. We wrote up the playbook last week. It is literally the last sentence in it. I said the time this team's finally going to fold is the time I finally back them. We backed them in the playbook. What happened? They threw up a dud. They couldn't get the job done. Seattle came in, threw it all over them. I didn't expect to see DK play in this game, and he ended up doing that after the injury he took last week, so that was surprising. Lockett had a good game. Lockett had a great post-game interview, too. Did you guys see that? It was talking about Russ. He leaned over the podium.
Yeah.
I think it was DK and somebody else were at the podium, and he walked back in and grabbed the mic, and he's like, it's a lot easier when not one guy needs all the credit and all the credit goes to the team. We got rookies in here that just want to put their head down. They've maybe said 500 words all season. It's like, this is a team now. It's not just a one-man show. I was like, oh, that's great to hear. So
yeah,
I think they got some chances spread. Like, if they're out of the long shots in the NFC, like, I know it would be crazy for a Geno Smith team to get there. But, like, Seattle somehow dances their way through the playoffs. The offense gets hot. We've seen weirder things. I wouldn't go crazy and lock them in as my Super Bowl pick, but in an NFC that's wide open, they could be a team in the end.
Which hot take do you like better, the Vikings or the Seahawks title? I think I like the Seahawks a little more to shock the world.
Yeah, I think I like the Seahawks a little more. I mean, they got the run game. Geno's been played well, so you got the quarterback that I think's fine. You always got the 12 man anytime you're at home. Got the Kenneth Walker, DK Lockett. Defense is starting to play a little better. Yeah, I mean, I think I like that one more.
Plus, you have the veteran coach, and I don't want to take anything away from O'Connell.
Thing is, I don't want to see. That's the thing. The Pete Carroll. I haven't been a real big Pete Carroll guy. I thought
because you're a DFS guy and you care about play calling. But when you're on the betting side, you have to look at player development, coaching, and motivation. And yes, his play calling sucks. If you want to get
I like analytics. That's how I judge.
Yeah, and so you don't like him. But let's look at how this average group of defenders gets better week after week. And I think that's what guys like Carroll and Tomlin, I think that's why they're underrated because let's be honest, the play calling sucks. Like how many times does I love Tomlin. How many times does he punt 4th and 2 in enemy territory? We all know that's a bad call. But how many times does he take an average guy and make him an NFL player where like on another team, he'd probably flame out, right? Under Kingsbury, the guy wouldn't get any better. So
that's fair.
Yeah, and we'll see how it goes. I also think that Carroll's benefited from the fact that the whole league has become a passing league. Now everybody's playing too high, and he wants to run the ball. And with all these smaller linebackers and the safeties being so far out, that his strategy is kind of working better because the NFL is all geared to stop Mahomes, Allen, and the Dolphins.
I did listen to a podcast. They said whichever team figures out how to beat this too high defense first is going to have a massive edge the rest of the season. It just might end up being Seattle spread with what you just said.
I don't think it's that hard to beat. I think you beat it by running the ball.
Yeah, but I don't think a lot of teams want to do that anymore.
Well, because they're going to tell you that it's not a good way to run.
So they're going to be the team that has the edge if they're just going to keep running it and say screw the analytics. But I mean, I pulled up the NFC odds real quick just to see where Seattle slots in here. Philly plus 195, Dallas plus 550. San Fran plus 550, Minnesota 6-1, Tampa 10-1, Rams 13, Packers 22, Giants 28, and then Seattle 28. I think Seattle should be plugged in behind the Rams maybe because you don't want to put them too far back, but I think they have a better shot than the Rams. I think they should be closer to like 15-1, not 28.
Well, they have an offensive line and the Rams don't. We know that betting on the NFL is a billion-dollar business. We know that these games have millions of dollars on the handle. Except for this next one. The Colts and the Commanders probably had about $20 total. Do you know anybody who bet this game? Do you know anybody who watched this?
Because it was my best bet on Friday.
Oh,
and
you're
I said
right.
It was uncomfortable, and look what got home spread the Washington.
I should have tailed you. I'm a dummy for doing that. Because let everybody know how smart you are, Tyler. Take it away.
I mean, I won't even call it smart because it took a quarterback sneak touchdown to win us the game. It was an ugly one. But when Tim Tebow's on the other side, there's no way in hell I'm betting on him. Jonathan Taylor stinks.
He's slimmed down a little. He doesn't look as Tebow-esque as he did in college.
I guess so, but man, he stinks. Like, he didn't even throw for 200. The running game wasn't all that good. Their defense plays this zone, so they were able to chunk off some big plays to Scary Terry, and that's all they needed in the end. So, ugly game, got the winner out of it, and that's pretty much it.
Title, did you go back to sleep during this game, or did you have eyes on the Commanders and the Colts?
I didn't have too many eyes on this game. I had, I watched it a little bit because I did have Ellinger and DK Cash. He was popular. I had Washington Commanders defense. So, and it was into the late window. So there's only so many games you can watch in the late window. So yeah, I mean, I had it on. I mean, it was a gross game. I don't really know what else to say. Nothing really stood out. I didn't have a bet on it. Like I said, I played the defense. I played the chalky quarterback. Nothing changed.
I left so much money on the table this weekend. I don't even want to think about that game anymore. It's time for my victory lap, though. Look who got another win. My guy, Jimmy G. Another win. That's all the guy does is win. Title, can I get some flowers now?
Look at this guy victory lapping a San Fran win over LA like they haven't beat them the last 15
Like they're
times.
not the reigning Super Bowl champions.
That don't mean shit. They
and all they got to do is literally Jimmy take 2 steps back, hand that ball off to little Christian McCaffrey, and the game's over.
He threw a nice dime to McCaffrey on that touchdown pass. You got to give him that. And in fact, I saw on the
catch. That was a great catch.
That ball wasn't even meant for CMC spread. That was meant for Kittle coming across the back of the end zone.
Well,
that was a great catch by McCaffrey.
You can't tell me it wasn't when Kittle's running with his hands like this.
I read that he had one of the highest accuracy ratings. It was plus 7.8% above expected, and I don't even know what that stat is, but I just loved it. But anyways, I guess that we can't really take too much away because they always beat the Rams, this and that. But I'll tell you what, if you're a 49ers backer, you have to be excited about this performance. If this team gets healthy, they put that offense up without Debo. I mean, they got a lot going on here, and they might not need to have an elite quarterback. You know, if Jimmy G can be just average and he's got Debo, CMC, IU, Kittle, a pretty good offensive line, I think this team, like, for example, we joked around Seahawks in Minnesota. I think this team might be the second favorite in the NFC right now behind the Eagles. Would you agree, Title?
I do think I do agree, especially with the McCaffrey. I wouldn't have said yes before the McCaffrey, but with the McCaffrey, I definitely do agree.
All right. What do you think? What do you think there? Are you ready to jump on the San Francisco bandwagon?
Well, I mean, I picked them last year to win the Super Bowl. They came up just short.
Mm-hmm.
Fully healthy, they're better than Philly.
There we go. You're bringing hot takes today. I love it.
But think about it they go in. No, I love Philly. I was big on.
But who have they beaten? What's their best win?
Exactly.
Dallas?
Well, we're going to be saying that the whole time. I mean,
who have they
more
beaten?
Of an eye test.
And the other thing too. You say they both play in the NFC Championship game. Who's got the experience here? The team that's been here 3 out of the last 4 years.
Yeah. And I'd even say I'm not a big Shanahan guy. I think he gets a little bit overrated, but I got to say he'd probably have the edge there over Sirianni.
Yeah, I'm not saying Sirianni's a bad coach, but
he's
just
not.
Experience comes into it. I think this could be one of them things. Philly makes a decent run into the playoffs here. They run into a team like that. They get knocked out. Next year's their year when they come in and they just start housing teams.
Title, last night's game wasn't that exciting. What were your takeaways watching your favorite team?
It wasn't exciting. It definitely wasn't. We were talking a little pre-show too. I thought that was the best game the Packers have played all year. And
yeah, the Bills are good.
The Bills are good. I mean, the Packers got what they wanted on the ground. The receiver, I mean, you can just tell. Like I've been saying, it makes me sad. I think I thought this was Rodgers last year. Every week just makes me feel even more and more strong that this is going to be his last year, which stinks. Man, they ran the ball so well though. Defense can't stop the run. Singletary got going early. This offense is so good though. Josh Allen, Diggs. I mean, They looked fine to me though. At the end of the day, like it was, they looked better than I like that performance more than even the Patriots win.
Really?
Some of the other,
Okay.
oh yeah. I mean, I thought that Patriots win was gross. Like Zappy gets in the game, Belichick doesn't want to throw the ball. You just squeak it out in OT. Like, man, I didn't think that win was great at all. This one, at least, you lost, but you had some stuff to be happy about. I think, and the running game was a big thing. Dobbs finally makes a couple catches, so. Yeah, they lost to the best team in football. That's all.
Tyler, anything more from that game? I think I'll be honest. I was watching the Lakers Nuggets. I had on both TV. I had one TV football, one TV basketball, but I thought the basketball was more fun last night. What did you think?
Just to touch on that game. I mean, who dressed up the 2015 Warriors as the Lakers last night? Spread. I mean, they didn't miss. But as for the NFL game, I mean, I think Title hit it right on the head. Like Green Bay did play a great game. It just happened to come against the best team in the NFL. You even seen Rodgers, A.J. Dillon, and Aaron Jones on the bench together at the end of the game. They're sitting there conversating. They're laughing it up. It's like these guys know they played a decent game. You weren't going to win this one. There was just no doubt about it. They were going to put points on the board. You held them pretty low. You kept the game under the full total. So it's like you didn't get housed by this team. You showed some good signs. Build on it for next week when you come back.
So we're going to upgrade them in our power rankings when we discuss this tomorrow night?
Yeah, we'll upgrade them a bit.
I kind of agree.
One thing to keep a big eye on, Buffalo tried to call the Saints last week and give them a first-round pick for Alvin Kamara.
Mm-hmm.
If they just go screw it, here's a 1, 3, 4, 5 like they did for CMC and San Fran. Imagine Alvin Kamara on this Buffalo offense.
I heard Philly's trying to get him too.
I think if he fell into Buffalo's hands, there'd be no stopping Buffalo. Just bet the house.
I mean, there probably isn't anyways.
I think there's a way to stop them.
Okay.
You give him a running back like that, that's game over.
Hey, so so let's say Tyler and I upgrade the Packers off 1 point off that performance. Would you agree with that, Title?
Yeah, I expect the Packers. I don't think they're going to give up. They're going to lay down. They're going to fight for a wild card. The NFC's been bad. I say they still have Aaron Rodgers, but it's the running game at the end of the day. I do. I think they're going to be above 500 when it's all said and done.
I got one more hot take for you, Spread.
Let's hear it.
They're playing Dallas in the first round of playoffs. They're knocking them out.
No one's going to want to see the Packers in the playoffs.
That's exactly what's going to happen. Dallas isn't going to get their bye week. They're going to fall right into this, and bam, there it is. They're done.
My matchup worry is that Dallas would be able to run the ball on Green Bay, but they have, 9 weeks to fix that?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, if
they have the personnel. They shouldn't be a bad run defense.
Getting in the playoffs and stuff, like where you got to expect the run defense, the stuff. I mean, this can't be the same football team now until.
All right, let's talk about tonight's game. The Cincinnati Bengals will be in Cleveland taking on the Browns in an AFC North matchup. Let me double check this line. It was 3 when I looked earlier this morning. It's still +3 for the Cleveland Browns at home. Probably get a 3.5 though, because it's juiced there, +100 on Bookmaker. Total 45.5. Tyler, you broke this game down in the playbook. Why don't you give some thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to side with Cincinnati here, even with Chase out. You look at this matchup, and you look at the game Cincinnati played last week against Atlanta. It's almost like Atlanta and Cleveland are exactly built the same. Like, Brissett's a bit better of a passer than Mariota, but they don't want to throw the ball as much. They want to rely on these running backs and just run the ball. So since he can get out to a lead led by Boyd and Higgins, Hurst is still a good option. They'll even use that Mike Thomas as their third receiver today. So I don't hate maybe touching his props if you get a low number. I think they get out to a quick lead, and they just look back at this Cleveland team and say, you got to throw on us to beat us. Cleveland's missing their best corner, so they're not going to be able to cover these receivers. Give me Cincy here to win and cover. I'll probably be on it through like a Boyd touchdown and Cincinnati money line because you'll probably get that right around like +2-1.
Uncle T in the chat loving the Bengals.
We know he loves his Bengals tonight, yeah.
No, I mean, a lot of times we're fair with our own teams, right, Title? Right?
I mean, I
go against the Raiders all the time.
I think Uncle
Tyler
T
never talks good about the Pittsburgh.
No, yeah. I mean, I think Uncle T's in that same boat, but I'm not surprised to see him on the Bengals against a shitty Cleveland team one bit. If he said that he was on the Cleveland side,
that wouldn't have been good.
I'd send Big T over to his house to make sure everything's all right.
What are you worried about for Jamar Chase, and are you fine laying the 3 here?
I mean, what am I worried about that Jamar Chase isn't there? You're saying, obviously. Yeah, I am fine laying it. I think this is a great spot for the Bengals. I mean, I like this Mike Thomas dude. They already have Higgins. They have Tyler Boyd. So he fills in. Of course, no one's Jamar Chase. Like, if a guy's seeing 10% snaps a week or whatever, fills into a full-time role, he's not going to be that guy. But I like what I see. I think he'll catch the ball when he's thrown to. We got Mixon. Burrow's looking good. They're starting to air the ball out more. Give me the team that's going to air the ball out and has good weapons, good quarterback, all of that against a team that wants to pound the football and play 1950 football, like you said, with the Falcons. So definitely the Bengals for me.
I just want to touch on one thing you said, like how you said Mike Thomas can't be Jamar Chase. T. Higgins can, though. And the way they'll just break those guys in is T. Higgins will become the 1, Boyd will become the 2. Mike Thomas basically just has to be Tyler Boyd at this point. So it's like you don't even got to do much.
Boyd
Get out
play
there.
out of the slot, though? Wouldn't you just put Boyd in? Thomas in at the 2 and keep Boyd in the slot?
I mean, they may do that. I
assume they will, but I think Tyler just means like Burrow's.
That's how that's his looks.
Okay, that's fine. I think you still have.
I think Boyd will stay in the slot. I'd be really surprised if he went
big enough to be outside.
Yeah. I'd be surprised if it was any other way.
You've done a great job on here. Now, of course, for people watching the channel, when you're subscribed, you'll be notified when these guys go live in 40 minutes for the Showdown show. And no one does better at Showdowns than Big T. But I'll tell you what, Title, don't sleep on your picks either. You've been giving out some great captains tonight. Just talk to us really quickly about the strategies you're going to employ when you're building a Showdown lineup tonight.
Well, I think everyone's going to go. Like you said, watch the Showdown show. Trust them more. I have not looked too much. They play more tournaments. I still play more cash in this. But what I'm seeing very, very early, I'm expect the 5-1 Bengals, 4-2 Bengals. Bengals are definitely going to be very heavy, especially without the Jamar Chase. Mike Thomas is only 1,200. Boyd 6,400. T. Higgins is 8,000. Like these guys are priced like Jamar Chase is in, which is why it's tough to get away from these Bengals. I think right now my favorite would be Mike Thomas at the captain spot. People are going to play him in the flex. People are going to have the money to spend the T. Higgins, Burrows. There's going to be a lot of money that people can just jam in at captain. So plugging in someone cheaper at the captain who, like I said, I think he can fall in the box. I think he'll be out there. He has all the upside, flips your whole roster construction. I don't want to go 4-2 Browns, so I'm still going to play a lot of Bengals. So I think that's my favorite route is Mike Thomas captain right now. Can definitely leave salary. I'd pair him with Burrow for sure. And I like Amari Cooper on the other side. I think Coop has a good game. He's my favorite Brown for sure. So that'll be my 3 core plays, and you have plenty of salary left to work with.
How would you feel about
there you have it, and there's a great start. Go ahead, Tyler.
How would you feel about we think Cincinnati houses them tonight, right? They just kind of put.
I don't know. Do we really think they house them?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's probably like a 10,
It's a divisional game. Like Scary Creation says, they beat them 4 straight times.
So okay, but let's just say hypothetically, Bengals get out to a lead. They're up by 10. Cleveland usually has to go to a pass offense to come back. What about a Kareem Hunt captain? Because then it probably switches to backfield. He's going to be the guy on the field catching passes. He might even score a couple of times here. He had a 2-touchdown game earlier in the year. He could easily get on the board here twice, and he might even steal goal line carries from Chubb. Yeah,
if you go Hunt at captain, definitely. It would be very, very low owned. Anytime you take the dog team, especially like a split backfield and people like the Chubb, I definitely think it makes sense. I still would probably go 4-2 Bengals in that script because you do think they will be ahead the whole time. So you can go like Hunt Brissett feels a little gross unless you do think he is catching a touchdown and all that. But I think that, from everything you said, the reasoning, the game script, definitely think that's a good play. And it'll be very, very low owned in that spot for sure.
All right, Tyler, before we sign off, did you have any props for tonight's game?
I don't have any on me right now that I've went over because I was doing stuff all morning. I'll have some in the Discord for everybody in a few hours.
All right. Well, there you have it. Of course, another great reason to become a member of runpuresports.com. You're going to get all those plays in the Discord. We finished the playbook, so that's already up for tonight's game, and we'll be doing this week's as well. You have an NBA playbook for betting. You have an NFL playbook for betting. You have access to great NFL minds like Tyler in the Discord. That's where the props will be. And, of course, on the daily fantasy side, you'll be getting cores from people like Title, Big T, JSU as we continue to dominate.
I do got one fun prop spread. Burrow's ran a touchdown the last few weeks.
They're sticking with us.
He ran a touchdown the last few weeks. This pass rush for Cleveland could get around that line and chase him around a little bit. The dude's shown he's not afraid to run. They've also gotten down to the one, and he sneaked a couple touchdowns in, plus 550 to get into the end zone. I'll take a shot on that.
All right, he's giving you Joe Burrow at plus 550, and both panel members like the Bengals tonight as road favorites. Could be sneaky here on the road. Hey, we had a lot of primetime unders. Do we go back to an under here tonight, Title?
Yeah, I'll lean yes, but I'm interested here with Tyler. Got a division game. I think the Browns struggle to move the football a little bit. Maybe it takes Cincy a little bit, couple drives, kick into gear. I can see the under hitting. I like the under more.
Do you like the under, Tyler?
AFC North divisional game. These teams, no matter how bad they are, they get physical with each other. They beat up on each other.
It's got to be pretty chilly, hey? I haven't checked the time.
Yeah, I could pull up weather, but the other thing too is like we know Cleveland wants to run the ball, and Cincinnati's done this weird thing the whole year where they've just tried to establish the run with Joe Mixon. God forbid they get established today. They're just going to keep running it, and this clock could just get chewed off. So give me the under here. And as for the weather, it's showing 60 degrees, possible drizzle, and 6-mile-an-hour winds. So not as bad as we thought.
No, that's actually pretty nice.
All right, guys, this is one of my favorite shows of the week. I really love doing this show, right? Because we're always under pressure. We're always just got to give the winners, right? It's all about the results, but we get to sit back and just talk some football today. And of course, we couldn't have done it without all you great people in the chat. Go ahead and give us that thumbs up so we can continue to manipulate the YouTube algorithm the way we have, because every time I turn on my TV, even if I'm trying to listen to some jazz title, it's throwing a Run Pure Sports recommendation. So we appreciate you guys helping us out that way. That's all we ask in return for these winners that we consistently give. Enjoyed the conversation with you guys today. Tyler and I will be back for NBA tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. Of course, that's featuring Travis Mangone. So always great game theory. 4-game slate. We choose him for the shorter slate so he can go ahead and talk in his eloquent manner that Travis is known to do. And then, of course, for more football coverage, Tyler and I will be back with our guy Kurt, the former offensive lineman turned fullback, to go ahead and give more winners on Friday morning. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and Run Pure.